The movie begins with these two nothing characters arriving home. The husband needs a moment, so the wife goes to their room alone. There, she finds a box. She yells for her husband and he opens it to find an opening credit screen. After what feels like an eternity, we come back to a real mood of a song that I'm going to try and show you, but it depends on copyright. And some characters doing some home improvements. We come to find out that this hunk of a man's name is Michael Chase, played by none other than Michael Riley Burke, whose other screen credits include just a small little character called Ted Mother Truckin' Bundy in the 2002 film Ted Bundy, the awful Slenderman movie that wasted an easy movie monster, and Goval in Star Trek The Next Generation. He lives in his house with his wife and their two kids, but are planning on going on a vacation soon. That leads me into this shady acting son of a gun named Arkin, played by Josh Stewart, who has also had a starring role in an underrated, underwatched, and underappreciated movie called The Neighbor. And he happens to be the protagonist in this movie for better or for worse. After she finds him creeping on the wife named Victoria, played by Andrea Roth, as she uses injections on her face, which is important, so remember it, we are introduced to the youngest daughter, Hannah, who is wonderfully played by Kelly Scott Collins, who also plays Aurora in a cute little short film called When You Find Me. Here we learn some very important key details. Our MC has some kind of thing with bugs, and he has a daughter Hannah's age named Sydney. After walking outside to light this movie up a bit, we run into the eldest daughter named Jill, played by Madalena Zima, who is the walking cliche of girl gone bad, and honestly one of my least favorite characters in this film. Then we get a scene cut, and we dive into this side story that only exists to drive the plot forward. It's about a loan shark's need for money, where we learn that the MC is going to rob the Chase family to pay off his wife's debt. Only thing about this scene worth sharing, honestly, is this shot of the lighter burning his hair off. I like how subtle and yet creative it is. It looks really good. Flash forward, and our boy Arkin is preparing to rob the house, using all the clues he gathered while creeping to ensure he gets in cleanly, besides this doggone part. After making it to the safe like the Splinter Cell I wish he was, he hears a key turn and skillfully avoids our villain for this movie, the Collector. From this point on, viewer discretion is advised. After my dude realizes he's locked into this operation, he victory laps around and goes back to the safe, where he then hears screaming through the vent. Going from zero to hero, he rushes towards the sound and sees Michael, all beat up and crying. Michael, thinking RMC did it, he goes for a golf club to drive him off, but par for the course, it activates a switch, sending Myers flying like a birdie down an entire floor to land right in front of the Collector. And rootin' tootin', that right there is what I call airmail. Now I'm going to call the Collector TC from now on because it's easier and I like the sound of it. So let's get right back into it. After witnessing this, Arkin decides to get up and get on out of there. He runs into a room where he tries to use the phone. While paying apparently no attention whatsoever, he picks up the phone and shanks himself right in the ear. Realizing he's in a tight spot, he goes to pull on the boards, hoping that he can break them on the screws, and gets his hand trapped in the blade instead. He pulls it out by the skin of his teeth and almost walks into a wire trap right after, but I think he's learned how to use his eyes for once. With some creative camera angles, he goes around the house, trying to find a way out and noticing a ton of traps along the way. Although he avoids some, he walks into a wire trap that almost makes mincemeat out of him before walking into a room filled with bear traps. As he snakes around the house, he eventually makes it to the basement before finding Mike the Knight, jacked the heck up and stuck in a chair. Unable to walk and use his hands, he tells Arkin to help his wife, that the delinquent is at home, and that he has no idea where Hannah may be. He also says there's a gun in the safe, tells him the combination and where the bullet should be. Moving into the next room, we see the wife is gagged in a bathtub with her eyes covered. He ungags her and goes to remove the covering before realizing it's embedded into her head. They hatch a plan that she'll scream and cause a diversion, so then he can go and find Hannah. Once she starts screaming and Arkin makes it to Hannah's room, TC goes, "Screw that noise," and goes to lob her tongue off so he doesn't have to hear that nonsense ever again. He's just trying to vibe, and I know how that is. Not being able to find Hannah, Arkin heads towards the safe to get the gun, and the diamonds he was there for. Man's the ultimate multitasker. Meanwhile, TC decides Mike is tired of hearing his wife scream too, and decides to be a really nice guy, lend him a hand, and cut his ear right off. After realizing there are no bullets where they're supposed to be, Arkin hears a noise and then approaches the box from the beginning. He opens it and finds one of the Nothing characters finally able to say that they are something. Bait. We find out TC collects people and that the bait's name is Larry Warren and is played by William Prale, that I know as Graham from The Blacklist. After taking the bait role from Larry by shoving his butt back in the box, he leaves the room as Larry is nothing but a Nothing character once again. Walking into the next room, somehow forgetting all the traps everywhere, he walks right into acid that a cat is stuck in. Also, somehow, he has boots on now, although I swear the man came in with shoes. Anyway, knocking books off and the cat screaming for its dear life gets the attention of TC as our boy tries to save a cat by throwing it towards an open window, where it quickly gets dispatched by a falling blade. Rest in peace, little guy. Nearly avoiding TC by hiding in a part of the room that coincidentally doesn't have acid on it, Arkin escapes by stepping on books that somehow haven't completely melted yet, and makes his way down to the basement yet again. Seeing Mike's body suspended in the air, we get our first confirmed kill of the movie. Rest in peace, Mike. You were a great husband and father. Moving to the room with Victoria, Arkin picks the locks on her handcuffs and pulls the cover off her eyes, which he said he couldn't do last time. Okay, then. Once she's free, he helps her towards the door, but seeing her husband's body, she goes into shock. She panics and sprints up the stairs where the collector is waiting to incapacitate her with some well-placed and quick stabs before dragging her off, as Arkin somehow hides in plain sight under a desk. Wonderful. He makes his way back upstairs where he tries to get the boards off the windows again while Victoria gets tortured to death by getting her mouth sewed shut. As my two least favorite characters come to die, the delinquent and her boyfriend are loudly getting handsy outside in the car. TC kindly lets them in, where they walk by him many times while blinded by lust as he watches them make me very uncomfortable. Once they finally see him, the delinquent's shirt magically pops back on as they prepare to die. First to go is the horn dog, since he couldn't keep his fingers to himself, and bears it all once he gets trapped permanently. Moving on, in her redeeming moment, Jill, whom has finally earned her name, calls the police before getting caught and almost sexually assaulted by the collector. Thankfully, Arkin saves her, and us, from that by using an alarm clock that gets TC running. Like her parents, though, she stupidly freaks out the moment she's saved, and then gets herself nailed in a way she never wanted, up on the wall. After trying to save Larry, Arkin finally escapes, but sees Hannah in the window and decides to risk everything in order to save her. I don't know why Hannah's making her presence known now, though, and making a ton of noise. She just decided that now she's a plot convenience? Okay. After saving Hannah and hiding, our big bad MC locks them in their room where they plan to electrocute TC the moment he enters. This ain't his first rodeo, though, so he throws Larry in and then steps on Larry so he can enter the room and throw knives, although allowing the two to escape to a room that's off the hook right after. Sending Hannah down the laundry chute, MC loses a fight with TC, but seeing his face in the process. As the dope song from the beginning plays, we see all the carnage from the night, Arkin being added to the Pokédex, and the movements of Hannah. We then get to see Homeboy get tortured, asking for more and more pain to keep Hannah hidden, while the police roll up and see the body of the boyfriend, finger twitching. Possibly alive, but already dead, if you know what I mean. With brass balls, the officer confronts the collector outside before getting his throat ripped open by the dog from the beginning, and his neck unoriginally snapped. Using the diversion, Arkin gets himself free. Him and Hannah rush upstairs while TC and his dog pursue, putting a flaming, freaking trash can on his head and yeeting him out a doorway. MC causes TC to shoot his own dog before charging in for a rematch. One good beating and one for Sparta later.
This is Sparta!
TC is in the basement. After making his way back up, they trick him with a mirror and pin him under the chandelier of knives before running into the rain. Hannah gets saved by cops and Arkin is put into the ambulance. Thinking all is well and the ambulance is safe, it gets crashed and TC lives up to his name and collects his prize, Arkin. So that was The Collector in less than 10 minutes. I left out a lot of things, so if you want the full 90-minute experience, I know where you can go and get it. If you want to watch it for free, you can do so on Pluto TV, Tubi, Vudu, and Plex. And if you have a premium subscription to either of these, you can watch it on Sling TV and Amazon Prime Video. For $4, you can watch it on YouTube and Google Play. So just thought I should put that out there. Not sponsored by any of them, but if you ever want to sponsor me, you know where to find me. Thank you to everybody that made it this far. It means a lot to me. I appreciate you. I hope you appreciate me. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Have a good day, and I can't wait to see you next time.